Hi all, welcome to day 15 fallen leaves. So we are gonna paint these amazing orange autumn leaves with a beautiful water reflection. So basically these are fallen on the ground and that's what we are trying to paint, right? So you see that wonderful reflection of water that we have painted. So let's see how we want to do that. Very excited to take you on this class project. So let's jump right into it. Okay, so I have done the sketch already. It's just that we have to make two leaves, so you can also try to make two any leaves actually, not necessarily these maple leaf. You can carve any shape of the autumn leaves, and then I have just roughly estimated where I want to put some reflections in the water, where I want to put the reflection of the leaves in the water, right? Then that's it. And for this particular class project also, we have been wetting the paper on both sides of the paper, right? Because I'm gonna stick the paper onto this acrylic slab that I have, and then we are gonna paint it. For this particular painting, it is highly recommended that you have a wet paper throughout the artwork until unless it is needed to do the detailing. So till the detailing part is gonna be completely wet on wet, and then we do the detailing and then detail out every reflection and the details on the leaf. For that, we just want our artwork to be dry, but then until that, it's gonna be completely wet on wet. Okay, so you can take a pause over here and maybe create the same shape size that I have done. So basically two leaves fall on the ground side by side. That is what we want. Okay, and once you're wetting your paper, you also just wanted to ensure that there are no water puddles on the paper. We just want a clean shine of water onto our paper. Okay. So for this particular artwork, this is gonna be very dark colors that we need. So for only for the leaf, we are using some oranges shade. Other than that, we are using lots of browns and blacks over here in this particular artwork. So we're gonna use Van Dyke Brown, burnt umber, and burnt sienna, but not burnt sienna that much. But I think a lot of role has been played by burnt umber in this particular artwork. Okay, so let's see how we want to go about it. Okay, so now we're gonna take a very diluted version of burnt umber, I think, and we're gonna start putting it on the paper now. My paper is completely wet, right? So we're gonna put randomly on different places, and let's see. So what I just want all of us to remember is the leaf part, the right, I think towards the right, but the bottom area should be more darker. So the area around your leaf is gonna be completely dark as compared to the other area, right? And remember, when we have wetted the paper, we have also wet the whole leaf. But then when you are putting this, doing this background wash, I just want you to be very careful and not go inside the leaf part because it's gonna be very bright and orange. Okay, so very carefully take your burnt umber and then go around the whole paper and cover that in the burnt umber diluted version. Okay, now I'm just changing my color and using my burnt sienna at some places. So I want all of us to do a mix and match, and that's why I said it at the starting that I'll be using burnt umber, Van Dyke Brown, burnt sienna to do this one. Okay, now I'll start by putting some more darker shades around this as it's wet on wet. So we're gonna start by putting some more darker shades on the background now. Okay, this particular part, right, that upper left corner, this particular part, I want it to be lighter in shade, and that's why I'm lifting the color from there. Because if you have noticed it, I'm gonna make some ripples over there. The water ripples would be here, and if it is pitch dark, it will not look very nice. So I just want to have little light tone around that area. Now don't worry, even if we put some darker shades and you go over it, right, just do the lifting technique, use the lifting technique. And if you're not very comfortable using the lifting technique with the help of a brush, then use tissue paper also, and I think that will work perfectly fine for this one. Okay, so don't fear about putting a lot of colors onto the paper. That's perfectly okay. Okay, so let's start by putting some darker shades. So I have just taken my neutral tint, and I'm gonna go over, start from this upper left corner and then go randomly on all places and make it more darker. Okay. I just love the texture of this paper. This is rough paper from Boha. You can see that grains, right? It's more than the cold press actually, and it's very good for bringing these kind of textures if your paper has more grains. So I just love using roughs for these ones. For botanical art, I have seen people using hot press paper, but I've never tried myself. I just love using cold or rough. My go-to would be rough as compared to cold. Okay, see, I have covered that area which I wanted to keep it lighter, but I think I'm gonna just go ahead and lift that color from there. So while you're painting, if you don't remember that there are some areas that you want to keep it lighter, just make a note of it somewhere, and then like once you are done with whole background, right, then you can basically go ahead and lift some colors from there. So that's perfectly normal. Okay, we want to go very carefully around the leaf. We don't want to enter the leaf area, right, because as I said, that's gonna be orangey. Okay, so make your artwork dark and then put some more colors here and there. Do a mix of Van Dyck brown, burnt sienna, neutral tint on the areas and cover the whole page. Okay, so now I'm adding some Van Dyck brown onto that area. More Van Dyck brown on the other part of the leaf area. Okay, and if you notice very carefully, I'm just carving the shape of that particular leaf. Okay, not going inside that. Okay, so the bottom area is looking more light, and I think it's gonna be more darker than it is looking as of now. So let's go ahead and make it darker. And the upper area that I've made darker, as already shown in the artwork, right, that has to be light in shade. So we're gonna just go ahead and lift some colors from that particular side. Okay, so the upper left is darker. Then we have light tone. So just follow this light, dark, alternate, right? And it's gonna be okay. Okay, so we're gonna just go and lift some colors from here because I want to maintain this area absolute lightness in the whole page, right? The whole artwork, whole background is basically very dark in shade, and this is the only area which is lighter in shade. So we're gonna just make it lighter. Okay, so let's continue. We will be, so I just drop some water over there, and with the help of my brush, I'm lifting some colors now. Okay, so I just want that area to be like that. Always trust the process, guys. Always trust the process, and you will see the artwork coming very dramatically live. Okay. And then it's here and there. Let's start by dropping some oranges and yellows. Basically, these are reflection from the tree above, right? They are not going to be exactly in the same shape or size, so very distant. So they are just the reflection of the tree, side tree or something, right? So these are only the reflection that are visible to us. Okay, so once we are done with that, let's define some relief, right? So the border of the leaf will define it, but not from the inside, but from the outside, right? So we make that area more darker. We lay out the perfect shape of the leaves. Okay, so for that, I'm gonna use my neutral tint with tint of indigo, and you can do the border. And remember, my paper is still very wet. So everything as of now, what I'm doing is wet on wet only. Okay, but then let's see how slow I'm going. So just go very slow to define a border, and use your paints gray or neutral tint, anything which you're comfortable with. You can also try to use your neutral tint with burnt umber, or your paint spray with burnt umber. That's also fine. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm trying to define the shape of my leaf and make it darker. And we're gonna anyways make that background darker later, but as of now let's define the shape so that we can do the color on the leaves. Okay, so follow your sketch that was already done, right, and fill the rest of the space with the same color because it's gonna be darker. So do the same thing on the other leaf as well. We wanna carve the shape for the other leaf as well. And now if you can see, right, the more darker your area around the leaf is, the more your leaf is gonna pop out. Okay, and that is what I'm looking for, because I want those leaves to pop out, but then also show them that they are already fallen on the ground and they have reflection around them. This is very beautiful. The way it will work out, it will look very beautiful. Okay, so just trust the process and then follow same thing for the other leaf. I'm gonna just speed up for that particular time period. Okay, so once that is done, we're gonna lift some more color from the area and then redefine the background, right? So we're gonna go and add some more browns, reds, and oranges on the background for the fallen leaf feel. And yeah, so we just gonna detail it now. But then everything we are still doing is on bit on bit. Okay. And take it very slow, guys, right? So just take your own sweet time to do that. And now I'm just making some reds onto whatever we have dropped there, oranges and browns, right? So I'm just putting some red on top of it so that it just looks very beautiful and gives that feeling of those fallen that shadow actually, which is very visible. So your tree is very high and those reflections are basically available on the water, right? That is what we're trying to show, right? So now let's go ahead and do the leaf. So we're gonna put some lemon yellow on the leaf. So both the leaf, the base color of the leaf is gonna be lemon yellow. Once we have done lemon yellow on the leaf, we're gonna start by putting some Indian yellow followed by orange, and one of the leaf we're gonna do red and the other one as a little bit of brown. Okay, but then again, now take it very slowly, very nicely, do this lemon yellow onto your leaves. We are not using a very darker version of the lemon yellow, very base, like I think 50-50 ratio, right? And that is what the consistency looks like. So 50% water, 50% color, and that is what we are gonna go ahead and paint our leaves. So the base color of both the leaf is lemon yellow. Okay, so the base color is lemon yellow now, and on top of it we are going to do some oranges. See how the leaf is popping now, right? So that is what the beauty of watercolor is. Okay, so now we are going to take some oranges and then drop on the leaf. So base is lemon yellow and then Indian yellow. I think Indian yellow. Yeah, let's Indian yellow and then orange on top of it. Okay, so this is Indian yellow that I am using. So the process is same. I think we have been doing this from a long time now. We have not made leaves exactly, but then other trees that we were made, right? So we were following the same process. We will be starting with lemon yellow, then some Indian yellow, orange, gold, like that. So that's the same thing that we have been following along, right? And exactly same. Because I think it gives depth to an artwork. When you do this way, it gives depth to an artwork. Okay. So let's start by putting some oranges on it, right? So this leaf and the other leaf gonna go, so put oranges. So once I'm done with my oranges, I am gonna put red at some areas on this leaf to give that feeling, and then for the other one, I'm thinking I'm gonna put some browns instead of putting some reds. Okay. So the leaf is already fallen, right? It's not very defined. It has random colors, so you can choose to make any color. But then remember that if you're using a different color for your leaf, then the reflection also has to be accordingly, right? So you can make your reflection accordingly. For this one, as I said, I am using burnt sienna, okay, and dropping burnt sienna at random places. Okay, so we want to wait for our artwork to be dry now before we add in any more details. So you want to completely dry your artwork. Okay, so my artwork is dry now, and I'm gonna add details on the leaf. So we're gonna add some more stems to the leaf now, and I'm using burnt sienna for adding stems to my leaf. You can also use Ventic brown or burnt sienna mixed with scarlet red and burnt umber and Ventic brown. So take a combination of such colors and then do detailing of the leaf, right? So we're gonna put some borders, not exactly, right? So just some broken it's in bits pieces of the border for the leaf, and then stems on the leaf. So they don't make a thorough border, it's just broken border at some places so that it doesn't look very cartoonish. Okay, So now I'm taking burnt umber and mixing it with my neutral tint that I already had in my palette, and then doing the detailing, right? So if you can see, I am not making very like continuous line, I am making a lot of broken lines, right? So we want to make those definition for the leaf, but then we don't want to make them continuous. It shouldn't look like a cartoon sketch. Okay, so now let's go ahead and add some stems on, sorry, not stems, veins on the leaf, right? We're gonna add some veins on the leaf now. Or also the outside area, right, where we can prominently put some reflection pieces that we have put, we can make them also prominent. Okay, so let's do with the veins of the leaf first. So don't do very detailed, right? Very random strokes. We don't want to make them more detailed. Very casual, we are trying to do it. Okay, see, it is looking so beautiful now that the leaves are visible. It's looking nice, but I think the area around the leaves should be more dark. Okay, and the spots that we have added, they have dried up very light in color, so those also needs to be a bit darker in shade. This tiny details to your artwork is what makes it very different. Okay, so we just make sure that you don't shy away from adding details to your artwork, because it makes it look very beautiful. Okay, so as I said, the area around those leaves is a bit of a light in shade, and I wanted to make a little bit darker, so we just go ahead and add colors around it to make it dark. Okay, but if I do it dark now, I think I'm gonna lost everything, so we just add ripples. Ripples are nothing but you do circle, right? So you draw your strokes in a circular manner, and that is what your ripples will be. So identify your places where you want to make circles. So your darker circles are where your background is little light in color. Okay, so you don't make ripples, darker ripples on top of a darker color. If you're doing, then make your tone more darker, so that at least they are visible, right? And the ripples also, if you will not see me making those complete circle. Now I'm not making complete circles. Even if I'm making a semicircle or a stroke over there, it's broken, right? So that's how we want to go ahead and add our ripples. So broken line, half lines, that's the way to add those ripples. Oh my god, I'm absolutely in love with how it is exactly looking. It is looking just amazing, right? Wow. Okay, so let's add more details, continue to add such details that will actually lift our artwork. Okay, so I'm trying to figure out where to add ripple, at what places it's gonna look nice. Okay, so you don't make ripples every at the same place, right? Over and over again, it will not look nice. So you need to identify areas where you want to add ripples, and the more near they are around the leaf, it's gonna be more beautiful. Okay, and see, again I said, right, broken lines is the key. We don't want to overdo these ripples as well, but then we don't want to do less also, so that it doesn't feel like it's they are fallen on the ground filled with water. Okay, so we want to make sure that they are in muddy water, and then the reflection is showing. Okay, so I think I'm gonna make that bottom area more darker now. It's looking very lighter in shade, so the area around the leaf is gonna be pitch dark. I want to make it very dark. Okay, so let's start by adding some darker shades. So I'm mixing my burnt umber with my neutral tint or paint spray, which is gonna give that dark impact. Okay, and then remember that we're gonna soften the edge if you're leaving anything outside. So I don't know how is your background, so just work towards your background, right? So for me the whole right bottom is darker, but I don't know how it is in your artwork, the way you have put your background colors, right? So just think about it, and then when you're doing it, do this the way that I am doing. So you make a border around your leaf, right? And if they are near to each other, everything becomes darker. If they are not near to each other, then you're gonna just take water and then soften the edge around them. Okay. Okay, so because my trees are very near to each other, whatever I'm doing, so I am just making the whole area more darker. Okay, so if they are, if you have like in the bottom area, right, if there are a lot of gaps, then you don't make it whole darker. No, you just make it darker around the tree. You take your fresh water, clean water, and then swipe over the corner of those dark shades. So basically they become you're softening the edge, right? So that is what you will be doing. Okay, so go very slowly around your leaves and then make it so we're defining it, right? So as of now leaves were not looking very detailed out and defined, so what we're doing, we're trying to define it. See, I'm not covering the whole part, right? So I just took the water and softening that out now. That edge, I'm softening that edge now. Okay. So we don't want to maintain any hard edges, so we soften the edge. Okay. And then you lift the colors also. If there's somewhere it has gone too much, then you just lift the color. So I'm using Payne's Grey and Burnt Umber combination for doing this. Okay, so the reflection, some zigzag lines. So I think the reflection part should also be on the dark area that we have done. So in order to make a reflection over there, I think we'll have to lift some colors. But then before that, if you feel like you need to add more reflection on other areas, then just go ahead and do that. Okay. So try to see your artwork from distance. Okay, so whenever you're working on an artwork, stop for some time, take a picture of it, or judge it from a different eye, right, different angle, and see what is lacking, what you need to do to make it more stand out. So for me, those ripples were not very prominent, and even the distance between each ripple was very much. So I just went ahead and detailed about it. Okay. And then areas around the leaf, as I said, right, it needs to be darker. So same thing, continue doing same thing until unless you are satisfied. Okay. Okay, so now I think those are done, but the ripples on that darker areas are missing. So we're gonna just lift some colors from that area in the ripple shape. Okay, so you're gonna just notice the stroke of my brushes. Every time I go, I wash my brush and damp it in the paper towel, and then come back and lift the colors. That's what we want to do. Okay. So again, dampen your brush, lift the color, again dampen your brush, lift the color, wash your brush, dampen the brush, lift color. So that's the process that we want to follow. Okay, because what will happen, we are lifting some paint from this, and if I go again and lift some color, I am again gonna put that color back into the paper, right, instead of lifting that up. So wash your brush, dampen it, and then lift again. Okay, and then we're gonna just use some white gouache to go around the leaf to showcase those ripples. I just love this paper because it just lets me lift colors very easily. But you gotta be patient around it, okay? It will not happen. So do couple of strokes. If it is not working for you, then go on that particular area, 1 round, 2 rounds, 3 rounds. See, I did 3 rounds for this stroke. Okay, only for that particular one ripple, I did 3 strokes. So yeah, so that's what we want to do. So you just got to be patient. Have patience and then do it very nicely, very slowly, steadily, and trust the process. Trust the process. Very important. Trusting the process. Okay, so as I said, we'll go and use some white gouache to do the red ripple around the leaf. Okay, so we will randomly do some highlights on the leaf using white gouache. Okay, so when the detailing of the gouache is done, we're gonna paint some stems, basically maple leaf or whatever the fallen leaf stems, right? As the stems that you are looking at my table, so we at random places I'm gonna put some stems. And see, those stems add such a beauty to the whole artwork. Now you can see there's something fallen on the ground. So I hope you guys like this one. Thank you for joining me in this class. See you in the next one. Bye bye.